to another episode of 6 and 6, where we cover 6 stories from around the world in 6 minutes or less. With that said, start your timer. First, to New Zealand and Australia, where an impending bird flu epidemic could cost both countries' poultry industries millions of dollars. From Reuters, Oceania is the latest region of the world free of the H5N1 Clade 2.3.4.4b avian influenza that has killed hundreds of millions of birds and tens of thousands of mammals since appearing in Asia, Europe, and Africa in 2020, littering beaches with corpses and upending the agricultural industry. While the region is somewhat protected by its geography, it is off the migration routes of the big birds, such as geese, that spread infection. The virus is close to having reached Indonesia in 2022 and Antarctica last year. New Zealand has not experienced a bird flu epidemic to this level before and has sent scientists and farmers to both Australia and Great Britain to learn effective mitigation techniques. Next to France, where the city of Marseille has faced a double murder tied to gang violence. The perpetrators are teenagers who have been recruited by the gangs in order to do their dirty work. From BBC, quote, last week, a 14-year-old murdered a taxi driver during a botched revenge mission for the brutal killing of a 15-year-old. Marseille prosecutor Nicolas Benset has warned the city's drug lords were recruiting young boys to kill, quote, without any remorse or reflection. During a press conference on Sunday, Mr. Bensens described the unprecedented savagery of the 15-year-old's murder linked to a feud between two gangs known as DZ Mafia and the Blacks. The police continue to crack down on the gang activity in the city after seizing over €1.5 million earlier this year, as well as hundreds of kilograms of cannabis. Next, we come to South America, where the president and vice president previously of Ecuador have been barred from entering the United States. From Reuters, quote, Correa and Glass abused their positions as former president of Ecuador and former vice president of Ecuador, respectively, by accepting bribes, including through political contributions in exchange for granting favorable government contracts, the State Department said in a statement. The department said it also barred the spouses and children of the former Ecuador officials from entering the U.S. Correa reacted in a post on X, claiming that his sentencing locally for the charges was without merit and that the U.S. barring him from entry was not fair. Both men have been retained, Glass in Ecuador, Correa in the Netherlands. Both men claim that these charges are trumped up by their political enemies. Next, we cross the Atlantic to Africa, where a YouTuber in Rwanda has been jailed after denying the Rwandan genocide. The sentence carries 7 years in prison. From BBC, quote, Rashad Haskamena, who was arrested in 2021, denied all charges, which also include inciting ethnic division and spreading false information by claiming that anyone who dares to challenge President Paul Kagame in elections is jailed. During the trial, he told the court that it was criticism of the government in his popular YouTube videos that was the real reason for his arrest. Under Rwandan law, it is a crime to deny, downplay, or attempt to justify the genocide in which 800,000 people were killed in 1994. He has already served out 3 years of his sentence and will serve out the other 4, after which he will have to pay a $700 fine. Next, we look to North America, where Mexico has continued to see falling inflation throughout the course of the year, leading some to speculate about further rate cuts going into the end of the year. From Reuters, quote, the closely watched Core Consumer Price Index, considered a more reliable measure of price trends as it excludes volatile energy and food prices, continue to slow, hitting 3.91% in the 12 months through September, down from 4% in August. The central bank cut its benchmark interest rate last month for the third time this year, bringing it down to 10.5%. The bank's board has noted that cooling prices would likely mean it could keep lowering borrowing costs. Some estimate that the central bank will lower the rate to 10% by the end of the year, and they say it could be as low as 8% by the end of 2025. Finally, we come to India, where Ratan Tata, the business mogul, has passed away at the age of 86. His time leading the Tata Group is remembered as a period of stability and growth during which they acquired the car company Jaguar. From BBC, The UK business secretary Jonathan Reynolds said in tribute to Tata that he was a, quote, titan of the business world who, quote, played a huge role in shaping British industry. The profile published in The Economist magazine in 2011 called Tata a titan, crediting him with transforming the family group into a global powerhouse, end quote. He is remembered as a stately man who enjoyed the simple and expensive pleasures alike, from the company of his many animals to his hobby of racing cars. If you want to check out any of the articles from the day, they're all in the link in the description below that like and subscribe button. Also, if you want to check out the podcast, it comes out on the same RSS feed and the same YouTube channel on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. With all of that said, there's only one more thing to say. Stay safe, don't die.